Shalom, shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for an impromptu live stream. And I was really excited in my study time this morning. Ken has been he's been sharing about the sword that came in. There's a prophetic expression of things that Ken has been seeing, starting from like the family trust, and actually you can probably see it on the board behind me. April, the family trust was established. May, magic was restored. June, the sword came in. July is the month of shine, and August being the month of magistry. So I decided to take a look at some just sword verses, and there was one that specifically stood out to me in Hebrews, and so I decided to dig into it. And I got so excited. For those of you who know me, you know my champagne moments, and I'm sitting studying by myself, and Ken's doing something else, and then he went to go work on building a set of stairs for an elderly couple. And I just started digging in. And so as I was digging in, I was having these champagne moments just by myself, and there was nobody here. The cat and dog do not care. So I thought, you know what? I need to go and do a live stream. And I did share with you guys that I wanted to get back to doing live streams. Right now, I'm not seeing anything on Facebook. So hopefully, this is connected to Facebook. If it is connected to Facebook, I cannot see any of your comments. So if you want to join in and actually have me see your comments, you're going to need to pop off Facebook and head on over to YouTube under the stand 121 so that you can come in and actually make comments so I can actually see them. So very happy to see you, Brandon. I see that you're here joining us. Thank you. I'm glad to see you here today. And I don't want to go into great detail quite yet. I'm giving just maybe a few more minutes here to have people trickle in. But I did want to share something with you. I recently was on Patreon with our Patreon family, and I had asked how many of them actually wanted to learn how to do this for themselves. And oh, good. Whoever Facebook user is, I'm not sure who this is. Yay, it's connected to Facebook. Thanks. That's awesome. You're the first one that's commented. So I just can't see who it is. Just says Facebook user. Apparently, there's a way that you can connect to Restream through your Facebook, and then it will allow your name and your avatar to be present. I don't know what that looks like on your side, but if you want to do that, otherwise you are just Facebook user to me. You're more than that, but at least that's what Restream says you are. You're family if you're here. Anyway, what I wanted to share is that I had asked a question to the group if they wanted to learn how to do this. And most of them raised their hands or nodded their head or, gave a major thumbs up and said they want to learn. They wanted to learn how to do this. So probably starting next month, I'm going to do my darndest to get it started because I've said this for 2 years now. I'm actually going to start teaching people how to do this. I will start it out on Patreon, and this will be like an hour segment once a week, and we're going to start going through the letters, and I'm going to show you how to break apart the words and then look into the fuller form of the verse. And so it will be ongoing. It will be under the 22 membership if you go to Patreon, the Stand 121. And I will be making everybody know ahead of time when I'm going to start doing this, but it will be like an hour before our share time on Saturday. So Saturday morning from probably 9 to 10 is what I'm looking at. From 9 to 10, I will be teaching the sacred languages and how to do it for yourself. So keep that in mind, starting August 1st. Do my darndest. I've already got some of those teachings already set up, and we're going to do it live. So that means anybody that joins onto the Patreon will be able to have an interactive session with me. And then if it doesn't work for your timing, it will be recorded, and then you can access the recordings from Patreon. Because I know there's people who want to do this. And honestly, the more of us that are doing this, the more that we can get this out there for the collective as we create neuroplasticity, new neural pathways for people to be able to get on. As you will see that a lot of the things that are shared within the sacred languages are revealing some incredible treasures as to who we are. I get so excited about that. And again, a lot of it is because we are confronting some of these religious dogmas and traditions that have been passed down to us through the English interpretations. And I know most of you, hello, hello, hello. I see all of you guys here. It's so amazing. Happy to have you here. Um, it's so those of you who have followed some of my teachings or Ken's teachings realize, and probably have realized, how much has been left out, how much has been lost in the translations themselves, because each word has about a paragraph of information. And my husband has said this for a while now. It's learning to look as it instead of at it, and being able to sit back, maybe not move so fast in it, and see how this applies to us, because we've been taking a look at it for years. That is, part of it is a history book, or the bulk of it is a history book. But when you start really digging into the languages, you'll see that it goes much deeper than that, that it's not just the plain text. It really is hitting you at the heart level to get heart, mind, brain coherence, the cross, getting the heart and brain connected, and the right and left hemispheres connected, which is then the unification of the Magdalene and the Christ energy as one. Hence why even in the English translations it says greater things we shall do, because of the unification of both of those energies, masculine and feminine. So very, very excited to be able to bring this to you. It's been a long time coming. I think there was a lot more resoluteness that I needed to settle in here before I could actually reach out and do this, because, well, it's a very intimate thing for me, and I'm expressing and sharing from my heart level. So I had to learn to trust myself, and in trusting myself, so I could trust all of you with my heart. And hopefully that makes sense. That is the biggest thing I've learned. I've had to learn to trust my own heart so that I could trust your heart as well, as we need to learn to steward one another. So anyway, very happy to see you guys here. There's a good crowd already. I see there's about 19 of you, if that's connecting to Facebook and YouTube. I just want to keep going in. Man, family is here. I'm so excited to see all of you guys today. So happy. I mean, like I said, this was just impromptu. And so having you guys just join me, thank you so much. I think I only gave you like a 20-minute heads up. So without further ado, let's jump into this beautiful, beautiful passage. And I just want to honor it right now. I'm thankful for the energy that this verse is bringing to us, the words, as it expands our heart and it connects our mind, the mind of Christ and the heart of Magdalene, so that we can walk this out and actually change and manifest the world around us one person at a time. So thank you for joining me in this today. All right, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and do my screen share here, pull up my document. And I won't be able to see your questions because the way the screen share works is you get to see me, and I can't see you. I can't see anything you're sharing on the comment section, but I'm sure it's going to be awesome and wonderful. But I will only be able to see the words on my screen. So I will be popping in and out periodically to be able to check on you, see how you guys are doing, and see if you have any questions. So let's go ahead and take a look here at two translations. The purple is the King James Version, and then this is Dr. Etheridge's work up here. And I'm going to talk about Dr. Etheridge's here first. So we've got, for living is the word of Eloah, and all acting and more penetrating than a two-edged sword, that entereth into the separation of the soul and the spirit, and of the joints, and of the marrow and the bones, and discerneth the reasonings and the counsel of the heart. Now, I want to show you something. I know it's really small print. You're not going to be able to see it, but I'm going to let you know what it says. Right here in this small text here, it says the sword of two mouths. That is really the plain translation of what it is. The two-edged sword, it's the sword of two mouths. So let that sit with you for a moment, especially if you've seen many things that Ken and I have been talking about. We have a mouth of mother and we have a mouth of father. We have two different ways that are being taught to us. One of it has to do with our exterior orientation, dealing also with our mind. The other one is the internal orientation, dealing with our heart. And so we have two mouths speaking two languages. Now you could take this in many different facets, because we could even talk about the sense of duality, where we have different voices that are speaking from a dual position, but then we have the unification of those dual positions into one. But they are two mouths that are trying to communicate something to us, and we'll get into this a little bit deeper. But I just find it's interesting because the sword, the two-edged sword, is really the mouths and having to do with speech. And I connected as well as to the Hebrew and the Aramaic. Hebrew being very masculine of how to build the form. The Aramaic then shows us how to fill the form so it can be a complete manifestation of the totality of who we are as a human being, self-actualized. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant how this was penned to us and it was given to us, and we get to see it in this day and age and actually partner with it and bring it forward so that the collective can connect to it as well. All right, so let's jump into it. The very first word is kaya, and I love this. Kaya in its parent root short form is kai, het yod aleph, but it manifests in the masculine form as far as the gender. I don't usually share the gender, but I really felt like it was important for us to look at the gender of these words because of what it is speaking to us. I wanted to let you know that really the reason I see this as being masculine is because the yod is present in the center. The yod is a spark, is an energy. And if you actually think of sperm or sperma, that is the spark that begins as it penetrates in the ovum to begin new life. And this is directly connected to the center of our being within our heart. If this had been a yod, which, just to let you know, in the movement of the letters, the yod is always seeking a vav. The yod is that idea, is the inspiration. It is a spark of thought, a vision that is then placed within. And when someone actually grasps a hold of it and manifests it in its totality, it becomes the vav. Why is this important, Carrie? Why are you going into such great detail? Because that would make this word chava. And if any of you have listened to things I've shared for a while, you know that chava is translated in English as Eve, the mother of all living. The mother of all living that was pulled out of Adam, out of mankind. And we have been on a hunt and a chase for that divine feminine energy to be reunited within ourselves. It's so beautiful. So because it's in the yod form, it's basically saying we need to build this. We need to be able to build our container. We need to build our temple in the masculine form so we can fill it with the life, the mother of all living, so that we are a vessel that is producing energy. So this would be negentropy versus entropy. Negentropic, where we are creating, we are reversing our spin. Instead of that consuming spin, we are actually generating energy, which is beautiful because that is what is actually going into the collective. Because we are putting and producing life into that, switching it out of the death spiral of the entropic nature and being able to give this energy outwardly. I did want to share this with you, the Vav. This is a very important piece of information here. And we're going to see this later on in this verse. And I'm sitting here looking at the time going, Carrie, you got to move it, sister, or this is going to be an hour and a half share time. And I don't know how many of you want to sit on your duffs on a beautiful summer day and listen to me for an hour and a half. So I'll do what I can without missing some valuable pieces here. So the Vav is usually translated when it's on the prefix of a word as the word and. But it is in the symbol as a sign that is so much deeper. And in the paleo meaning, it would be like the nail or a tent peg, and it would have the basic meaning of connect, but it goes much deeper than that, as the language always does. It is a convertible sign, and it makes a thing pass from one nature to another. Let that sink in. Passing from one nature to another, uniting on one side the sign of light and spiritual sense, which is more elevated. So connect this to Hillel. And then connecting to the other side in its degeneration with the sign of darkness and material sense, which is Lila. Now, I am coming from a place of neutrality on this. I am not saying that one is better or than the other. I'm saying that both are who we are. in this experience, in this chaya, in this life. We are both of these things. We are spirit and we are material. One is Hallel, one is Lila, and the two of them need to be united. So this Vav is letting us know that that is what the convertible sign is all about. It's connecting both of those entities together, the Hillel and the Lila. And when you put those two together, we get Hallelujah. For those of you who didn't know that. Now let's move in. So now we have this essence. The very first word is basically talking about bringing forth life in a negentropic state. And then we have a very simple Hey Yod. This is a permutation, meaning a different order of the letters Yod Hey, which is an abbreviation for Yod Hey Vav Hey, but it really is the word God, Yah. I'm not sure what all of your expression is and what you feel God is, whether it's the quantum field, whether it is source, whether it is Abba, whether it is Father, whether it is Mother. But what I can tell you through this is that the Hey is an expression of everything that can be expressed in revealing, in revelation. And then the Yod is that power that is given to us. The power means in direction. So this is the mirroring of God. So what is this doing? This is actually revealing us as Yod Hey, as God. But it has to be revealed to you in like the open hand position so that you can grasp a hold of it. And that little Yod, as small as it is such a powerful letter because it is the power, means, and direction of the work and deed of your very own hand. So in other words, this is something that we have to build. Hence why Hava or Chaya is in the masculine form, because it's saying you've got to do something with this information. It needs to be acted upon because change doesn't happen without application of some sort. And even in English, faith without works is dead. One of these days, I'll probably do a breakdown of that verse, but that's not today. Now let's take a look at this simple little word here for the ger or gir. This really, in the essence of these three letters, has to do with a sojourner. Oh, how interesting, my typo here. Movement and for. I would say that's a Freudian slip. I'm leaving that sucker in there because that is talking about the quadration of the heart, the four chambers of the heart. It is also the four elements that is necessary for us to restore magic in the land. The sheen, which is the fire, Yod He Sheen Vav He, the fire of the creation of who we are in creating our reality around us and affecting the collective in a very positive sense or a negative sense, choosing what you want to do with it. But for me in my house, we choose the positive, uplifting stance of it. So it's every action which brings back the being upon itself. So interesting that in talking about magic, whatever we are doing in communicating and bringing forth for the collective in our meditation time and communicating our heart level, whatever that we are putting out is going to come back on the self. So it's important for us to watch what we say, watch what we think, the things that we do, the things that we meditate upon as we are releasing it on the collective. It's going to hit us first. Now listen to this. Assemble in hordes to journey. I love that because that is saying that it's like it's us. So I in the green, just to let you know, this is the etymology of the word hordes. I didn't put that specifically, but it was for this word right here, denoting a tribe or a troop or other nomads. So these are ones that are on a journey. And what are they on the journey? Take a look what this comes from. It comes from a word meaning a royal camp. Ooh, that's so good. So good. Meaning to dwell together. The place where one meets in the course of a journey. And every idea of tour, detour, rumination, the action or process of thinking deeply about something, and the continuity of movement and interaction. So what are we seeing here? Gathering the power within that is necessary to raise us up from our poor and destitute state to be first fruit leaders. We're talking about self-governance here. We're not talking about leading other people, although many times when there are people that are needing assistance and help, they will be looking for an external shepherd to help lead them, to help teach them, to help show them the way, which was very much demonstrated through Ishu, aka Yeshua, aka Jesus, to be able to lead people in the way. And so this really is about our journey in continued movement that is raising us up in governance, which is sovereignty, our own personal sovereignty, so that we can unite together as the idea of camping together or dwelling together. And if we're not, well, we're going to keep going because this is going to get deeper and hopefully get you very excited like it did for me. We have shared Miltha with you many times. The mem lamed by itself, the root is just mem lamed, can mean word, case, cause, and matter. But I want to show you something really fantastic here, because this Miltha, when it is written in this form, is inspired speech. And why is it inspired speech? Because it is the death of the ego. Now, I'm not saying that we are to kill the ego. That is not what I'm saying, because the ego is in our own self-expression of the divine spark of creator, the fractal of the totality of being in its unique expression. So we need this to interact with one another in this realm. That's what happens with these flesh suits. So I'm not saying kill the ego. What I am saying is that ego is no longer present in the moment when Miltha is occurring. Miltha is inspired speech. Now, the lamed is in the middle of the word death. And I say this all the time, and those of you who have been listening to me for a while know that lamed, I think, is probably my favorite of the symbols of the letters. So it is the rod of the teacher, and it means authority. But also look at this. It means to accustom, to learn, studied, put together, compiled, brought together, connected, to teach, was trained, study, and knowledge. What is this saying to me? Because the only way I can share this with you is through that which my eyes and my heart sees in order to bring it forward to you, which is really a mirror of my self-expression here. As I look at this, this is letting me know that my heart needed to be instructed. And you're going to see why I say this a little bit further down. My heart needed to put some things together and compiling it. And how is that happening? Through divine inspiration from Hillel, from the higher self or the oversoul, however you want to see it, being able to bring that authority within my heart so that the two of these could come together. So the ego bows itself down to the true self, the Hillel, in order to bring forth this, the revelation. This is on the suffix side. So this is the revealing of the divine feminine nature, the hidden aspects of who we are, that is trying to rise up out of us, uniting through inspired speech, because it is actually taking the masculine and the feminine energy in order to do this in unification. And you will find very interesting here, the mem is the feminine symbol. So mem lamed, as meaning a word, a case, a cause, a matter, this is the feminine staff of authority that is actually coming from the word. In Greek, you would know this as logos. The word became flesh. This is so incredible to me. And the resolve of the Tav Aleph on the end of this is meant to bring us into the intimacy chamber, the chamber of intimacy, the chamber of nuptials, where we unite both of those energies together in the place of the heart, which is the Holy of Holies. But this inspiration, in a lot of times when it's happening, is going to prick, sting, incite, and goad you on the inside so that you can find the authority within. So it's not the ego that has the authority, it's your heart that has the authority. That is why it's so fascinating that this Magdalene energy is being released, because that's really allowing our heart to have the authority over our mind, where before it was the mind of Christ that was then, everything was submitting to the spirit. And now we're being able to unite the body, soul, spirit as one in full maturation of being able to live as self-actualized and getting to experience this world in our flesh bodies, being completely united and no longer separating any of the entities of our triune being, or shaming or guilting any of them. Just getting to be in living. Oh, that's so amazing. I find that I get to do that every morning when I get to spend time in my garden in the dirt and digging and planting and pruning and cutting and spending time with my flowers. I am just in the moment getting to experience the entirety of my being. It's incredible. So let's take a look at this a little bit deeper. The Memlamed is in the idea of continuity, plentitude, and continuity from the beginning to the end, the Aleph through the Tav. How beautiful is that? It has the idea of words, idioms, the skill of clear speech, persuasive speaking or writing, and narration. So, aka the word. That which is full and entirely formed. Hence why Miltha is able to actually come into this realm, because a being has been fully revealed in connecting the Magdalene and the Christ energy. That which is attained its complement. Beautiful to take a look at that. And when you unite Miltha, so again, let's take a look at this. This would be the word of God. Now notice this, the word, feminine in nature. Now we shift over into the masculine nature. However, when you take a look at the expression of how it is written, the door, that is, the word is the door to God. Okay, that's why the Dalet is there in the beginning. But the Dalet is a symbol of natural abundance. It's multiplication through division. It's quadrated. It is connecting all of the elements. It is also a letter that is letting us know that we need to deliver ourselves from separation, that we need to unite those things and attach something that is separated, something that is dangling, that has been waiting to connect. What are we waiting to connect? The mind of Christ and the heart of the Magdalene. And we deliver ourselves of separation, which then unites us. We have the Aleph on the prefix, the Aleph on the suffix. This is the mystery of the many who are one. This is the God essence. This is source origin. This is the quantum field. However you want to look at that as God. And now it shows that the Lamed on the inside, the heart, has been fully revealed and manifested. Oh, that's so amazing. But again, you have to enter into the door. You have to deliver yourself. No one can deliver you. You have to deliver yourself. And it takes a lot of work to do it. But through the sacred languages, I will say that they have been a very helpful tool, because it's literally a blueprint how to do this. Does everyone need to learn the language? No, I've said it 1,000 times, 1,000 different ways. No, I'm not telling anybody that they need to study this. But if your heart begins burning, if the languages begin calling out to you, I highly suggest doing it, because there's something there for you to find. And there is a draw that is pulling you to say, dig here, do something with this as it is coming forward. I would never tell anybody that they have to do anything. That would be service to self. And that is going in the exact opposite direction of that which is innate within me to do, service to others. So having said that, the door to God, let's move into the next one. This is a word that means all, every, whole, and entirely. Kaf Lamed. Here is that Vav. This is the first time we've seen that Vav added on the front. Remember, that was the transmutable sign. We talked about that. All the way up here, the convertible transmutable sign. In connecting the light and the dark together. Hallel and Lila. Connected to this, which on one side means all, every, whole, and entirely, but on the other side it means the bride and crown. That connects to a whole lot of stuff, because this is the bride who then becomes the queen. Thanks for scaring me there, little Mishka. She has something to say about that too. All right. We're going to jump into the next one. I know why she's barking. Ken's home. So it's going to take a moment. Come here. So let's take a moment for her to settle down because she heard the truck. She heard it before I did. So now we've moved into the bride that receives a crown. Look at what this next word is. It means visit, do, and effect. Visit, do, and effect. And what do we have here? This is connected to the word 10 or tithe. And I know I saw something on Facebook about the tithe. I'm not going to really go into it. I will go into something about it. But this has to do with multiplication of hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So what I'm seeing here is there is an effect that is happening from the languages of what is being written in this verse that is going to multiply. And look at the fullness of what this word means. Act, perform, work, accomplish, look after, deal with, and heal. To heal. And this one is feminine in nature. That feminine energy is to prop us up and support us. And it's meant to rouse us awake, to stir us up so that we can then begin to raise our head from a lowered position into that raised up sovereign position as one who fully sees. And this is like to accomplish the work. So again, the word, the inspired word of God for the bride to receive her crown, to bring healing, to rouse us awake and get us to the place where we receive the signet ring, the sign of authority, and the wedding ring, because now we have healed that separation. All right, now we're moving on to the next word here. This is a word that means sharp, incisive, keen, fervent, be eager, and to mix. Why is this important? Well, when we see Rapha here, okay, we have Rifa, but Rapha, we have two words that are next to one another that are letting us know to heal and heal. So whenever something is mentioned twice, it is double importance, but it goes deeper than that because we are talking about the mother and the father. We're talking about masculine and feminine energy here. So in this, the masculine energy must be married to the feminine energy. The masculine energy of Hallel is stirring us and rousing us awake, which is mother. That is pointing to oneness unity. Then we have another word here that then shows us that we're moving into being eager or having a lot of energy in our healing that has made us really sharp in how we're seeing and feeling. But now we have the het here, and the het is the esoteric letter for life. Again, having that beautiful vav in the beginning that I shared with you earlier, that is letting us know it's bringing us into life force energy where we are fully healed and we have power within our heart now. This is giving us the ability to fully activate that heart chakra. That then is the work and the deed that affects everything externally, because internally we found the power within. We found that seed of life within, that spark, that vision that we are to bring forward that will then heal the rest. So incredible. Now, when we take a look at the good, I've shared on Patreon a little bit about the Tovehun, blessed are those who, Tovehun. This here is the Tav Bet. Now, this is a very important two-letter words here because that Tet here, this is actually a symbol of the serpent. Now, I know through our indoctrination that many people do not like the word serpent. They're like, oh, the serpent in the garden deceived Hava. No. That is a seraphim messenger that was coming, Raphim, to bring healing. And this is letting us know, if you take a look at this, because literally the symbol, it means basket, it means servant. One of them is, one side is a vav, the other side is the sword. This message, it is showing you the serpent within. What is the serpent within? That are two. This is the two, the Caduceus staff. The two serpents within, the energies of the Magdalene and the Christ that are built together in family from the inside out. I don't know if you guys can hear it. My husband's running a saw out there. I apologize. He's still in work mode. But this is the serpent within, which is good. This is meaning that there's a benefit there and we're supposed to rejoice. But take a look at where this is coming from. When we connect this serpent within, because that vav is in the middle, when we connect to this, the serpent within, this is bringing about beauty, gladness, and welfare and goodness. It is that which keeps a just mean, meaning faithful to the original, all that is well, healthy, and that which defends itself and resists corruption. What are we talking about? We're talking about the corruption of the temple. This is so important because the transmutable sign, what is corrupting us is when we separate ourselves from the material and the spiritual realm of that which we are. That is what corrupts the temple, when we do not unite the two together. And the seraphic message is showing us how to build that so that we can finally have the fullness of being able to rejoice and being glad and being made glad and having health and wellness and welfare within our own self. That's so amazing. Memnoon, we know that is a word that is meaning manna, but it also means to be a part of something, to or from or out of. But in the root of it, it means a string instrument, a chord being played. And why is that important? Well, because we're talking about coherence here. We have mother being represented here, but we also have noon, which is a seed, which in the paleo, this is actually like a sign of the sperm, or if you take a seed that is being germinated. So this is being part of mother's energy coming together with the seed, with the sperma, with the sperm to produce something new that is of perpetuity, providing a strong base for us to stand upon in a newness of life. But again, perpetual, meaning ongoing. This is something that goes from generation to generation. Okay. Now we get to the word sword. It's actually a Persian loan word, this sophistra. So, Sophia, some people could connect that to Sophia, right? That would be the Semek Pei Aleph with the Sar in the middle, which is a word for royalty. There's a reason why this word was written from a Persian loanword. Many times when you will see Aramaic writings bring in another word, it's because of how the word is spelled. Okay, saying that purposely. Abracadabra. How it is spelled, because the magic that is behind it, that essence of that energy that is going forward, is in the letters itself. It's not the word for sword. It's what the letters bring to the table when they present themselves and they're being released. When we put our mind upon it, when we meditate upon it, when we have love and gratitude towards it, we then create it into our reality. This is what is so amazing. It is the permutation for the word for book. Now remember, we talked at the very beginning about the chaya, about life and chaya. This is a permutation for the word book, the book of life, sefer. So that when that which is united within, okay, so let's take a look at this right here. The semek, pe semek. The ra on the outside is a word that means to see. A raised head that sees everything is united. Semek, pe semek. We have two rings here. We have two rings of authority. So when we have this united, that which is united, the wedding ring on the inside, which then is taking our masculine and feminine energy, which is bringing forth this maturation of the masculine and feminine energies together, which is the signet ring, a place that props us up, supports us, and protects us. And then when it manifests externally, then we are bringing Rapha, Pe, Resh, Aleph, which is a permutation for the word healing. We will then bring forth the fruit of healing to help heal all the nations so that we can all rise into unity. as healed, as whole, as holy, as one. And I would go as far as so much to say the sword of Pharaoh. Now, for those of you on Patreon, you know what this is connected to. I don't think I've shared anything on YouTube or Facebook as of yet on this, but this is a huge dot connect for the things that Ken has been sharing. Then we have the two mouths, tren. This is actually connected to a royal edict that is going forward, but can only be issued when we are delivered from being in our separated state, where we are rising up. And this is rising up from within, having the power that is coming from the inside. This is the voice of the dragon. Now, again, I know many of you in the English version of the book of Revelation will say that the dragon is bad, but sharing with you, the dragon energy is huge because there's this place of covenantal energy that is bringing the fire from within, that is raising us up into our sovereign nature of our original being, not that what we were subjected to through thought forms, egregores that diminished us, but rising us up into this new seed of new life, where they will have songs of deliverance and jubilation because of this. And again, sign of abundance, that which happens, multiplication through division. Why is that important? Because as we're divided, this is allowing us to actually multiply this message as we go forth. Why do you think they were sent out 2 by 2? Because multiplication through this letter, this word, is letting us know that this message will go forth because the two voices, the two mouths, will be speaking as Yod-Heh, as God. This literally here, as we move into the next word, is the mouth of God. This is why this is connected to Pharaoh, because Pharaoh was speaking as a shepherd. He was a shepherd over the people, and he was considered as being the speaking as the mouth of God. And this is on the divine feminine side as Father. The Yod-Heh is now manifested. That which was hidden. Oh, Mishka, stop, girl. It's so hard to hear over you. You are like, I know you know that we're doing a live stream. Come here. Come here. Come here. I know you're doing your job. You just probably need to go outside. So this is the voice of God. This is coming from the divine feminine that is now being fully revealed. And it's amazing. This, I just saw this. Pe on the flanking on the outside is the word literally for mouth. Pe. On the inside is a permutation for the day. It's yom. It's the day. So this is the day of the sword, the mouth that is going forth, that is bringing forth powerful revelations that have been hidden from two voices of the masculine and the feminine, that is releasing royal edicts in order to raise us up into our sovereign position. Then we move into a word that is talking about entering and bringing. So this is the day when the sword is being brought forward. And Ken shared this, that he prophetically was getting that June was the month that the sword entered in. So the sword is also connected to the observer. It's another dot connect. The energy of the Father, aka divine feminine, is fully here. The sword has come. And why is this so important? Because this is connected to the harvest. We have entered into the harvest season. And that which is getting harvested is that which is produced, has produced this oneness unity. Carrying in and introducing and leading people into this oneness unity. That is absolutely incredible. So this is talking about bringing in the harvest, that which has produced godliness, the form and the power, not the form that denies the power, the form that was built, and then the power that is filled it up. Masculine and feminine. With the Ein Lamed, which is the actual root of this word, it means to ascend, to be the highest, top, and chief. So what I love about this is we have the Ein and the Aleph both represented here. The Ein is specifically dealing with the material realm. The Aleph is dealing with the spiritual realm. This is bringing in both. Both of them are being dealt with right now. And here's the key, the word until. This word until was not translated. It was completely left out. So just to show you that. So in the translation, if we go all the way up, and then I'm going to need to pop out. I've been talking for a while here. See how you guys are doing. There's nothing in here that says until. It on either one of these, either on the King James Version or Dr. Etheridge's version. The word until is not utilized at all. So it is saying that the sword or the word is here. The word, the maltha, the inspired speech of masculine, feminine that is coming through the word, even in the written form that we are seeing through the Hebrew and the Aramaic. It is here to be able to help bring in the harvest until. Now, this is two words. Ma has to do with the measurement. Ad has to do with witness and a testimony. It also has to do with bedecking, adorning, perpetuity, perpetual. And when I see this here, what we see on the inside, we have this word we have ein mem, which has to do with people. Ein mem has to do with people. It has to do with the tribesmen of Israel, but it literally has to do with all of mankind. And when we're connecting to the tribesmen, we're also talking about the 12 stones on the ephod, the message that is contained within the vibrational frequency of the stones. This is saying until the people, the dalet is in the middle, until the people deliver their hearts from separation and begin to enter into oneness unity. This is when, in the material realm, it will become mighty, not only in word, but in deed. But the measurement of oneness unity is going to go forth because Mother, the anointing of the divine feminine energy, is here to bring forth oneness unity. No longer separation, completely united. So this sword is here until this happens. Now take a look. I'm going to pop out here in a second. But this is until what? This has to do with difference, separation, discrimination, and distinction. Can you see where this is going? Let me stop and see where we're at. I need to go back because I'm sure, we're at 50 minutes. I just keep going. All right. I'm not seeing any questions. I can't go back quite yet and go look for any questions. If you guys have a question on something at the end of this live stream, go ahead on the comments after this video is posted. Go ahead in the comments and leave your question. I'll do what I can to answer it if I'm being clear as mud. But so is getting back the until separation, until discrimination, until that is done away with. Let's move back into the screen share. This is, the lamed is connecting to the sword here. This is having to do with this energy is here until the separation and the differences is dealt with. Now, this staff of authority has been given on the masculine side. This is through Mother. This has to do with severity. So when you see things in the world that are amping up right now, it's because this lamed, this has entered in because of all of the separation and the discrimination that is going on right now in our system of duality. We are in such highly polarized position right now. So this is going to instruct us. It's going to sting us. It's going to poke us. It's going to prod us because it's dealing with that which we've set apart, we've divided, but it also means to appoint and to distinguish and to mark out, to discriminate and to discern. Because it's trying to teach us something. What is it trying to teach us? This is amazing. This is amazing here. The noon aleph has been added on the suffix side, which has to do with our dark and our shadow. Our separation is happening because of the wounds and the things that happen that are hidden within us that cause us to be in duality and see things very, very subjectively. All right? But this noon aleph also has this meaning: freshness, grace, beauty, being young and graceful, springing from that which is formed of a new production or something that is new. So the only way that this is going to happen is for us dealing with our own shadow, our own wounds, when we allow Lila to come forward and unite with the authority of Hallel. This is actually, the shepherding staff is there. That is there to help rise up Lila, to be able to unify this. But because it is something that is being birthed, that is being new, it also has the idea of being frail and feeble. Just think about a newborn. The head needs to be protected because the neck is weak. And because of that, we are going to need to gain our strength in this new thing. But that is why oneness unity is present, because we're no longer in the place of separation, we're in unification. So we then begin to build and support one another in this. Now here's something, and it's also a prayer, by the way. The Nun Aleph, this is coming forward saying, we beseech thee. But this is coming from Father, aka the Divine Feminine. The Divine Feminine is saying, I beseech thee. And then collectively, we beseech thee. Let this new thing be done. Let this new seed come forward. Now here is the warning. Shana. To do again and again and again and again and again. We will have to keep doing this until we can unite all of our differences and all of our separation. We will be under the rod of correction, the staff of authority, until this happens. That's why this message in the language, I believe, is so important for us to be able to get this in our head and in our heart so that we can make this happen. And I want to show you something else here. This pur, this has to do, the peiresh, this has to do with fruit that is coming forward. And then we have the resh sheen aleph, which has to do with our head, raising up our thoughts, raising up our vibrational frequency in lifting up the collective with this new seed, this new thing that is happening. And we have to do it together. So then it's connected to our soul, of our life, of our own soul. But take a look at this. We have the word judge right on the front side. Why is that important? This is giving us a blueprint for how we are to do this. We're going to have to keep going around and around and do this over and over and over again until we realize that the only judging that is being done is our own soul, of our own life, of our own self. It has nothing to do with judging anyone else, because it's the only way that healing is going to be made manifest is through that oneness unity. And the key connection of this is through the spirit, through the ruach, through the ruka. Very interesting in the connection of something that I've shared before a couple months ago. I was going into 1 Corinthians 13 when it was written, love is. They left out the word spirit. Love is spirit. They just didn't even translate it. Just like the word before up above where it was the word until, the adma, the adma. They didn't translate adma. Well, in 1 Corinthians 13, they left out the word spirit. So when I see spirit here, I know that this is connected to love. So what is this letting us know? That if we are going to have this manifest, then it has to be the spirit of love that is going to do this. And in other words, since it's following after the word judge, we are to judge ourselves through that measure of spirit, which is love. In loving kindness, which is also grace, is lifting us up and bringing this forward in our own soul first, in order for us to bring forth, here's another form of the word life, in order for us to bring through, take a look at this here, This is actually a permutation for Chava, the mother of all living. In order for the mother of all living to become one and manifest in all things as life, as negentropic and not entropic, then we need to be able to bring love back in. That means there is unifying the hate, which love and hate are just two poles of masculine, feminine energy that are in an extreme of emotion. That's all that is. Until we neutralize them into the place where love just is as one, is spirit. Love is spirit. It is that essence of the unseen that gives us the ability to be generating life in an egotropic state instead of the entropic nature, which is selfish. It is giving of it. That's our spirit is just giving that love frequency out. Dar is a word that means pearl or mother of pearl, the pearl of great price, which is you, your spirit, your soul, this combination right here. Now, try to go through this last part a little bit faster because we're already at an hour. So we talked about, and I've always wondered what this joint, marrow, bone is. Now take a look at what this is saying here, you guys. Oh my gosh. So joint, articulation in movement, right? Look at what the root of this word means. To let go, send away, dismiss, free, loose, also can be release, divorce, break, put away, dwell, lodge, and stay. This is a highly dualistic word. So we've got two sides that are moving in articulation. It's moving back and forth, sending away, dismissing, bringing, putting away, but dwelling and lodging and staying and letting go and sending away. There's this movement that is going around. But why is this important? This has to do with sandals and loosening straps as far as an idiom goes. An idiom, so loosening the straps of your sandals, that which you walk upon, that which is your foundation. This is saying that we may need to loosen the sandal straps of that which we've been walking in order to pick up something different, in order to deliver ourselves from the place of separation. Because the root of this, the dalet has been added. So again, we have that vav. We need to connect the spirit and the material together. We need to be able to convert that. We need to deliver ourselves from the separation, because then when we deliver it, then we can multiply the message through the separation so it can go forth. And we have a 2-letter word here that means truth. It means that which is true. And it's right in the middle of the way this has been written. Sari, coming from Sarah, coming from those who have overcome. This is very important to connect. Much of what we are having to do in changing our foundational walk is for the courageous. This means letting go of the things that you have found that have been foundational, but have been keeping you separated. And this isn't easy. This is actually part of the root of making the word Israel, Yasharel. As a matter of fact, that is a permutation for Yasher, which means the straight and the upright, that do the direct course. The direct course is the middle path on the tree of life, called the path of the mystic. It's called the path of the arrow. The Yod Tav is placed in the middle of the root. So the root is Shin, Resh, Aleph, Sarah. So again, those who overcome. The Yod Tav having been placed in the middle, and this is what is so important. This is the essence and the objective nature of things. So the reason why this articulation and this joint is here, and why this root is so back and forth in duality, is because when we are still separating and we are looking at things from a dualistic perspective, from a subjective standpoint, when we still have wounds that need to be healed, and we're polarizing from either side in judgment. We are not getting into the place where we're overcoming that nature yet, because overcoming it is moving into the place of the objective nature of things as is, that which is true. Not subjective truth, but objectively what is true. And the Tav Aleph on the end of this, the Tav Aleph on the end of this is the intimacy chamber, right here. That which is true. Healing our heart. This is also a permutation for the word Rashit. And Rashit is part of the very first word that was written in the sacred text, Barashit. And the bet is added on the front of that, which means inside. Inside is the head, the beginning, the chief, principality inside of you. But you're going to have to build it because it's been divided. But in building it is how you create family in unity. All right, we're getting through this. The marrow and brain. Look at that. This has to do with the mind of Christ. How amazing is that? Because it is damach or dama has to be, it's a word that means to be like. It also means to cease to be. So we are talking about, we've got this chet here, which the chet is a symbol that means offense or separation, but it's also the transmutable or sign into life. So we are ceasing to be separated. And where is this taking place? In the mind, right? So again, connect the spiritual and the material, connect the Hallel to the Lila, connect the Christ to the Magdalene, become those who have delivered themselves from separation, that have tapped the deep well within them, that have become the mighty, that have converted everything in here and have brought forth life out of their separation into oneness unity. This right here, guys, here's that permutation for Chava. So we have a masculine energy, the brain, and we have the mother of all living here, which is letting us know that we need to deliver ourselves from the separation of even what happens in our brain between the logic side and the emotional side, that we need to unite the two of them through that place of objectivity that is only going to be done through the mind of Christ and the heart of Magdalene and being able to walk it out. Now take a look at something else here. The Dalet Mem, when they come together. So this means dam, it means blood. It means like the juice of the grape. But it also means the state of universalized being, having only the life of the universe. That is why Adam, Aleph, Dalet, Mem, is the Aleph means one, Dam means the one state of universalized being, the life of the universe. Adam, mankind. Adam and Eve. Oh, this is so good. This is an Adam and Eve united again. Oh, I just got that. Oh, excited. Champagne, everybody. Woo! Adam and Eve united back together as one. Oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. Okay, now we get into the bone and the self. So when we move from Adam and Eve now being connected as one, now it's into the self portion. The root, garam, to cut off, to short, bring to an end, decide, and determine. Okay, so why is this important? Because when we move into this heart-brain coherence, when we get everything connected together, we're joining Adam and Eve back together, Adam and Chava back together. This is letting us know this has to deal with the self, that it's actually, now we're bringing the end to the self as separated. We're bringing that separation of self, the ego, to an end so it can join into one, because we had to go through the process of this first. This will make sense to you when we land the plane on this. So again, deliver yourself from your separation. Ger, this is a shortened form of that word, the sojourners that we talked about at the very beginning. Rum means to elevate. So deliver yourself from the separation in the journey that you've been on, because you've been gathering and assembling that which is raising your head through the feminine energy that is bringing you into the oneness unity. This is the end of the separated self. This is why then it moves into judging. Because remember, we shared earlier that to judge, you are only to judge yourself here. And it's, again, we've got this convertible sign at the beginning: connect the flesh and the spirit, connect to that source, that spark, that inspiration on the inside of you, that you are judging yourself into that new thing, that elegance, that grace, that beauty, the freshness, that which is new. This is where the ego gets terrified, because the ego, everything that the ego ever wanted, it's afraid in letting go. And we already shared that before. That part of that process is letting go of that which separates us. The ego is terrified of letting go. So when we're walking in that path of light and we're illuminating and we're getting to see everything, when we get to the apex of that, we enter into the hidden place where we're now dealing with the dark and we're dealing with the ego. And this is where the ego has to start letting go of things in order to gain everything. And this is, for my own journey, is probably the most, I don't like using the word scary, but I will use it. It can be terrifying at times, because you're letting go of everything that which you thought was foundational for something greater. And the ego is scared to death of this. But then this is where this true self, the actualized self, begins to rise up. And we do it rising up, room to elevate. We're doing it together in getting into that universalized being, united as one, the mystery of the many who are one. We beseech thee, let's do this. Then we're talking about judging the thought, reasoning, and counsel. I did, probably 2 summers ago, I did a teaching series called As a Man Thinks. And this was having to do with chashab. Chashab as a way of thinking, reasoning, and counseling, right? And we have Mem Tov Aleph. So we have, in the process of judging, now death is the diminishing of the ego for the sake of intimacy and joining into the oneness unity, the intimate chambers of the place of the heart. You have here, you have to turn, you have shuv, to turn and settle to the place of the start, to the beginning of where we were once at, before we divided, before the ego came in, before we divided ourselves from the black and the white, when the Elohim divided, in bringing in the experience of separation. And really that started right up here. So the unification, the Christ mind, is the unified mind. And when we separated, here's the fence. So even take a look at this. We have the feminine energy here. We separated from the feminine energy. Hence the ego came in. Hence building everything through the masculine energy. And it's saying that it is through Mother's energy that we will find life, that we will be able to marry, that we will be able to turn and return to the place of origin, into the place of intimacy, as a universalized being, as one with the universe. Last 2 words, guys. Now we move into mind, thought, and imagination. So we have thought, reason, and counsel into mind, thought, and imagination. This is what I think is so fantastic in this, you guys. Because this is all about the mind of Christ and the heart of Magdalene. I want you to see something right here. If you were to just put your finger over the screen and not see the Yod Tov. Now we already saw what that was beginning to be in the objective side instead of the subjective side, the essence of all things objective. The Resh, Ayin, and the Aleph is a form of the word for shepherd. Do you see that right there? I'm sitting on that for a moment, because that to me is really deep. Because the shepherd, the mind of Christ, which we always see as being very masculine, the mind of Christ is masculine, but it is through the feminine energy of that which is being revealed as unified that is the true shepherd. And that is through your thought and through the imagery, the imagination, that is then the shepherd to what? The heart. So we may see external shepherds leading us, but in truth, when we get into the place of entering into the objective nature, when we get into the universalized being as being one with the universe, the mind of Christ is therefore now united, Hallel and Lila, and that is the shepherd of our own heart. And when we get to that place, this is the flaming sword. This is the heart that is burning now. This is one who has been delivered from their separated state. They now have authority within them in oneness unity, heart, brain coherence, right and left hemispheres, the full cross, completed in their journey as self-actualized, a universalized being. That is fantastic. Whew, guys, that was a whirlwind. That was a lot. But that's why I was so excited to share this with you, because it's one thing when we know these things and Spirit is sharing it with us, right? And we're getting these revealings on our own. And I am so excited that humanity is getting that. But for me, that is very word oriented. It's like literally my love language is words of affirmation. When I dig into the sacred languages and then I see it written to verify that which Spirit has already shared, I can tether it and I can ground it. I can bring these concepts and know that Miltha, the inspired word, is coming through the conduit of who I am in my expression to bring these concepts and actually land the plane and bring these concepts down into the earth so that we can fully manifest it. Because if I can connect my heart and my brain together coherently, then that what I speak from my heart, I can release to others so that we can join in it in our frequency, collectively, universally, and bring this to pass, to encompass us all, connected to Ken's compass teachings, as we go fully around the compass, all the way through the light, all the way through the dark, unifying into oneness unity, so that the Magdalene energy and the Christ energy, like we saw in that word, Adam and Eve coming back together as one. That is so good. I hope you guys got excited like I did. It's an hour and 15 minutes of sharing. That was a whole lot. And for those of you, if you entered in a little late, start from the beginning, because this verse that we just went over is super fantastic. It's probably one of the most amazing verses I have ever uncovered in my entire time of being able to share with anyone that would be willing to listen to me as I'm sharing that which I excavate out from my very own heart. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and post them. Either you can post them on the Facebook page, or you can leave them when this gets posted on YouTube. I wore myself out on that. I'm going to need to just take a break for a little bit. That was a lot. But leave questions for me if that didn't make any sense, and I will do my best to try to explain it in maybe a different measure for you to grasp a hold of. But I think most of you are getting this because the Spirit has already been leading us in this direction. So just know that the things that I am sharing, if you've been trying to figure out how it's connect, if you didn't see it in English, it is because Spirit is leading you. The Spirit is leading all of us. Love is leading all of us. And we're just entering into the waters of maturation, where all things become new. So much love to all of you. Shalom alahayachun, namaste, and chadutha. Until next time.